All right. Just making sure that I am live. Hope everyone's having a good night. Got a tight start wrapping up at the facility. So just making sure.
Tight start.
Yep. Making sure everything's running well. Everything's running well. Great. Okay. Welcome, new member Will B. Super pumped to have you be on the virtual team. There's a lot more members only stuff that I'm putting out for level 1, but then level 2 is where you get to send me footage of you training and everything else. Yo, what's up, Rusty? And it's also a great way to support the channel, as well as dropping a super thanks with buying a cup of coffee. Letting people roll in here. I got Sugar Ray Robinson, perhaps pretty undisputedly the greatest fighter in the history of boxing, and possibly the greatest fighter in the history of combat sports, playing in the background. So really crazy double left hooks, brilliant stuff. What is up? Good to see you. Good to see you. And again, this is Q&A for boxing training. So any questions you have, shoot. Any thoughts you have, shoot. I try to do a fight study or fight recap of Kermel Moton's last fight, and YouTube shot it down. I think only 2 people got to see it before YouTube made it ineligible or unable for people to view. So that was a good one. The big things, the big notes from that fight from an up-and-coming prospect like Kermel, what's up, Danger, is the basics. That's what I love to see so much. He's a very talented man, but he was doing just a lot of basics. And as you guys know, I'm big on the basics. Again, letting people roll in here. I'm going to keep it a solid 60 minutes today for today's live. Hope everyone's training is going well. Let's start off with the questions or comments, your thoughts about. By the way, let's go ahead and get some thoughts bouncing in here. Who do you guys think is going to win in the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol? Right? We'd love to know. Danger, Rusty, what you guys think about that one as we're getting closer to it. If you had to bet on it. And while I wait for those answers, we can watch Robinson in the background, looking great. David. Damn, would love to see that. Kermel is starting to be one of my favorite prospects. Love that dog in him. Yes, he is, he's, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. Let's see if he can keep on top of it and not fall to all the temptations that so many fighters fall to when they're going up ranks and when they have a lot of support behind them. He has a lot of support behind him, obviously. And let's see if he can keep his focus and not let's see if he can tie himself to the masts of the ship and not follow the call of the sirens in the cliffside. Okay, love Kermel. Very great example of using the basics, right? And that last fight, Danger, brilliant. Man, you look at it, just bam, 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 putting punches together, throwing punches in bunches, not goofing off, not trying to dance. That's something that I've been working on more and more, and something my dad was very big on, is just being effective. Because, like if you look at Sugar Ray Robinson right here, very effective. And he's loose, he's dancing in a sense, but he's not goofing. He's not, what it is? It's showboating. Nowadays, guys showboat too much. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I have a specific perspective, but even when I was just more of a fan of boxing, I didn't really like showboating. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just who I am. And some people like that, but I don't think your average fan likes that. And it doesn't show you're good. March 1st, Tough Man Tournament. Any advice? Yeah, man. I mean, with your length, Brandon, you know the advice. Keep him at the end of the punches, man. Keep him at the end of the punches. That's how you're going to knock people out. Right at the end of that jab, circular movement. When they attack, jab off to the side, and that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. That's all you need. That's all you need. You know, unless you got another guy your length, then you're really in for it. But even in that case, probably not used to a guy your length. Showboating is okay as long as you follow up with a knockout or knockdowns and serious damage. True. Yeah. I mean, isn't the worst thing when someone's showboating and they're ineffective, right? They're winning, right? But they're showboating. It's like, dude, lock in and do some more work, man. Come on. Right? How's it going? It's going good. It's going good. Fight Night Narrative. Fight Night Narrative. Looks like that might be a interesting YouTube channels. You put content out there. Let me pull you up here real quick. Fight Night Narrative. I know you're probably answering my question as Night Narrative. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. I guess I could like click on your thing from the stream here. All right. Gotcha, coach. I fought a guy 6'8" last time and beat him. And how tall are you again? Remind me, Brandon. You beat him with the jab, right? Hope you did. Anyway, look at Sugar Ray Robinson right here. Circular movement, jabbing off to the side. And we'll see him put his combos together in a second. Good guy to watch a lot of if you haven't watched a lot of him. As a big Bivol fan, I got Beterbiev winning this one. I don't really see how Bivol can pull off being more aggressive with Beterbiev being technical. Yes. And I would say the only caveat to that is that Beterbiev isn't he a little bit older and got a little more miles on him? So that's the question factor there. Because if they were like, if from my understanding, if they were the same age and wear and tear on them, I would go with Beterbiev. But that's where the if factor is. So I'm going to lean to Beterbiev, but we shall see. I don't really post that much anymore, LOL, but yeah, I used to make a couple videos. Cool. I just, with the name like Fight Night Narrative and that thumbnail you got, thought it was actually 6'4". Yeah, man, 6'4" fighting a 6'8" guy. Woo. Got some giants in the ring. But yeah, Sugar Ray, great guy to watch. If you guys watched my video that I came out with recently, talking about the journey that I had for my first Golden Champion that went on to be professional, Jamarcus Polane. He's currently 12-0. He's not very active now, but he's 12-0 as a pro. And I had him just watch Sugar Ray Robinson just nonstop. He was about 6'3", super heavyweight, a smaller super heavyweight, about 210, 215. And he just did his best to be a heavyweight version of Sugar Ray Robinson there in the amateurs. And man, almost nobody could beat him. Let's see here. Danger. Honestly, I got Beterbiev. I thought Bivol would win the last fight. I'm a huge Bivol fan. But when I saw that Beterbiev could actually box, I knew it was over. So Beterbiev will probably win the rematch. Yeah, I saw John Scully. It was one of the coaches of Beterbiev. He had an interview recently. Oh, look at Robinson. Aggressive boxing. Look at Robinson go. Man, this is footage that so many guys, look at the body shots. So many guys wish they could have watched throughout the years. Multiple body shots. And notice who's tying up who. Look at almost like a bolo punch there. He is throwing with every ounce of his power on every single one of these shots. Man. If you have not gone down the rabbit hole of watching the greatest boxer in the history of boxing, arguably, then you need to. Sugar Ray Robinson. Yeah, Beterbiev is 40 now, but was pushing Bivol around. This will be a very interesting rematch. Yeah. I mean, let's see. You can get old in one night. It's possible. Not very often that people lose the first fight and win the rematch either. Yes, true. And that's where you reveal if you're really a great champion, which, maybe Bivol will prove us wrong, right? As I can see, we don't have Bivol fanatics here. Or I remember, during my time, a lot of the Pacquiao people, and I think you guys know the pejorative that people would call Pacquiao fans because they were really big on Pacquiao. And of course, there are other guys that are really big on Mayweather. And, of course, Mayweather's the best of his generation. Pacquiao is, of course, an all-time great of, his era. And really, you can only judge people by their era. Of course, like we know Sugar Ray Robinson, he went 40-0 before he lost to Jake LaMotta, and then he avenged that loss 5 times, either 5 times or 4 times, and went on 70 fights straight. Excellent fighter. Well, man, let's talk about some boxing training, guys. Thoughts on questions on strategy, tactics, technique, different things you're struggling with in the gym, or different successes you've had. Feel free to share some successes. And also, enjoy Sugar Ray Robinson. Master at circle jabbing, slipping with the left uppercut right there, back to the jab again. Knew the importance of the jab. Was a student of Joe Louis. And really, in my opinion, Joe Louis revolutionized boxing. Of course, his coach, Jack Blackburn, talked about all the foundational stuff that, beautiful body shot there by Sugar Ray Robinson. All the foundational stuff that's required to be a successful boxer in any era. Of course, as well, like we know with Sugar Ray Robinson, they fought so much more often, which for the safety of the athlete and the longevity of the athlete as well, but even the safety long term is not good. But it does make you a better fighter. I was talking to one of our newer coaches about all the ins and outs of things from back then, how they allowed smelling salts because you wouldn't get saved by the bell. And, you would be saved by the bell. And so therefore you could be laid out flat on the canvas and your corner can come out and pick you up off the canvas and put you in the stool. And if you can come out for the next round, you're good to still go. And man, oh man, that made for quite a sport. Not a good sport for people's health, but quite a crazy sport. Let's see. I train at one of your locations and we're competing soon for the first time. So that's exciting. Cool. You train at Mount Juliet, or where do you train at? How do I send you my fights to get your advice? Yes, Brandon. So what you do is you just become a level 2 man. And in there you get information on how to do that. Let me see if I can share that in the live stream here, just so you can see that. Links. There we go. Right here. Boom and boom. Thoughts on jabbing while using the rear hand to prevent counters. I've thought about doing this, but wouldn't this leave me open for a hook? That is a great question, Rusty, and it's a very thought out question. Here's a very thought out answer. So when you're at jab range, which is longer range, you're not very susceptible to hooks. Now, if someone overcomes that range, you got to worry about it, but you theoretically have more time to deal with it. Also, let's say I have my hand here and I'm catching and jabbing. If a hook comes, I don't necessarily have to get it right back to the face. I can go off here with it to the side and stop the hook coming around. Does that make sense? Because it's a little bit more of a long range, unless it really comes in tight and they're really getting close. That's probably not going to happen. And also, you maintain range. But I'm a big proponent of doing what we saw the great Sugar Ray Robinson do. And not every, whenever we say every, we're going to be wrong. But most great fighters in the history of the sport are very good at using their rear hand for defense while they're jabbing. The jab, the way that basic boxing defense is designed generally, there's many styles of boxing. But generally, if you're talking about traditionally, which I'm a little bit of a traditionalist when it comes to boxing, I think that's the foundation, is the lead hand is your offensive hand, your initiating hand most of the time, and your rear hand is your defensive hand most of the time, about 80-20. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, but also from my experience with fighters. One fighter I had, James, Tony, and Buddy McGirt came up to us afterwards and said, man, that guy got skills because I got him pretty good at using that lead hand and defending with the rear hand. And that's what real boxing skill is all about, in my opinion. It's not only about the head movement, it's about all this stuff together. Camden, hey, coach, any tips for being hesitant to slip the cross to my left? In sparring, I only slip to the left if I'm throwing a right, but would love to slip left and follow with a hook or uppercut. It's a great question. So, one thing that I would recommend for you to do, because I was actually we're talking to a newer coach about this, is I was adjusting some things with him technically. And again, hey, we're right in the moment where we're going to be talking about it. Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis. If you don't know about it, you don't know shit about boxing. Okay? Just be a little Roger Mayweather for you. May he rest in peace. But if we're a little bit more concaved off to the side, that's going to automatically put us a little bit further away from the right hand. Okay? If you're straight up and down, you're going to be a little bit closer to the right hand, orthodox to orthodox, right? So if you're a little bit off that side, you're a little bit further away, and you have a little bit more time. And if you just twist your body, the head will come offline. All right. Now, what you might want to feel comfortable with first, or to kind of get you on the path of doing it, is maybe weaving under the right hand, weaving under to your lead side, and then come back with your hook. All right. But the slipping the right hand to the lead side, you got the most time to do it. But heck, let's start slipping the jab to the lead side as well, just to get used to it. And trust me, you're not going to get creamed by a right hand, but let's just maybe come back with a punch after we slip over there. Don't just slip over there and hang there every time. All right. But if anything, that slipping to the lead side is the primary way to slip. If you want to talk about the one style of boxing that emphasizes head movement over everything else, is peekaboo style. Slipping to the lead side is the standard modus operandi of that style. I hope that helps. So practice first, perhaps weaving. So make sure you're a little concave to your rear side in your position. And therefore, if you just rotate your body, your head will come offline and you'll be able to come back with a hook. Also, practice some drills. Have a partner just throwing 1-2s, 1-2s, 1-2s. Get used to catching the jab and then slipping that right hand and, coming back with an easy hook that's quick. Break it down into a drill to get used to it, to get accustomed to it, and to know what it looks like and to get the timing. Let's not underestimate the importance of drills. Great question, Camden. Coach, how do you keep your base when you slip and move so you don't lose an extra second having to reset? Slip and move so you don't have... I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that question. How do you keep your base when you slip and move? Well, I mean, practice, but if you can give me a little bit more information about what you mean by that question, and I can maybe give you a better answer. Looking forward to it. Danger. Next, sir, you're the greatest coach on YouTube I have found. Thank you. I really appreciate that, my friend. I'm the national silver medalist in K1 kickboxing now. Congrats, my friend. Now I'm representing my country in WAKO World Championship, UAE, later this year. Man, wow. Well, thank you, sir, for being a part of this live, and I'm really appreciate the kind words because it's coming from someone that is doing something and knows something. So I appreciate you, my friend, and best of luck with that World Championship later this year, and know that you'll do very well. Like we know, when preparedness meets opportunity, that's what people call luck, right? All right. Al Demokles. Hey, coach. I just want to say thank you. After watching your videos of psychology of boxing, that thing, it blows my mind. The sniper. Yes, that idea of the sniper, man. You're not out there on the front lines just running out there like a berserker, right? The idea of a berserker where you're all just hyped up on methamphetamines and running out there in the battlefield going nuts trying to kill people, which is what people think boxing is sometimes. But being that cool, calm, but cold-blooded killer. Yeah, absolutely, Al. I'm really happy that helped, man. And thank you for the kind words. Good night. What's the best way to break down a fight? To either study future opponents or film study? Man, that's, again, man, it's Thank you so much for that question, Bernardo, because I had someone ask this a while ago, and I'm still having trouble articulating a good answer. But I would say the first thing is when you watch two guys fight, just watching them fight in general. Okay, because let's answer these two questions. It's kind of two questions to this one question. So great. Watch in between the two guys. Right. So you got two guys, watch in between them. So you can use your peripheral vision to see exactly what's going on either guy and not miss a thing. Same thing when you're judging as well, by the way. All right, so that's one thing. Then the second thing is if you're watching someone that you're going to study because you're going to fight them, obviously you watch that person. All right. You watch for habits. What punch do they throw the most of? And I've done this type of analysis on people that my people are fighting, where I'm determining how many jabs they do, what type of combinations they tend to go to, what they tend to do defensively for different punches. And this is all information that you can gather when you fight somebody if you have enough rounds. But it can also not be, right? Depending on how much time you have, how many rounds you got. Seeing what is habitual and seeing what style they like to fight and seeing if we can disrupt that or answer it. Now, of course, the caveat to all of this, though, is I've had plenty of guys get ready for a fight against someone that we know who they're fighting. We know how they fight or how they fought. And because you're different as a fighter, they fight different, right? Or because they're progressing. And that's what also always makes boxing hard to gauge because, you're not fighting a static individual. It's not like weight on a bar that's always going to be 135 or 225, right? It's constantly changing. And depending on the day, that person might be less who they are or more of what they are because of what they've been putting in work-wise, or like Al talked about, the mentality might be different. So look at Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. You had a different Buster Douglas that day. If it was the same Buster Douglas that they were expecting, he wouldn't have got back up off that first knockdown and it would have been over. All right. Camden, any tips on throwing multiple body shots with a higher rate of fire? I find I'm throwing like a slugger and with a slow rate of fire. When you say fire, do you mean speed? Any tips on throwing multiple body shots with a higher rate of fire? Yeah. Man, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm not sorry if I'm like dodging this answer, but I'm not sure I know what you're asking, Camden. You don't mind, hit me one more time and maybe say just slightly different way. Top 5 greatest fighters all time. Yes. Let me give it to you. This is where I'm going to age myself. My best friend, was my father for many years. And so that rubbed off on me. So in a lot of ways, in my heart, I'm like a 78-year-old or whatever. So number 1, I'm going to say Sugar Ray Robinson. All right. Number 2, I'm going to say Joe Louis. Why Joe Louis? Excuse me. Misspoke. Number 1, Sugar Ray Robinson. Why Sugar Ray Robinson? If you don't know why, you should look it up. Number 2, Henry Armstrong. All right. He's the only guy to have 3 different weight titles and have them at the same time. Okay. He fought for a 4th one against Seferino Garcia. It was a draw. A lot of people thought he won it. So he almost had 4 titles. And this is not back when there were 24, 28, or 26, how many there are now, and so many sanctioning bodies. There was 1 belt, the NBA belt, National Boxing Association belt, and there was only 8 titles. He almost had 4. He had 3, 100%. He almost had 4. Henry Armstrong. Then number 3, Joe Louis, longest reigning heavyweight champion, 11 and a half years. Record number of title defenses, 25, I believe. And man, just again, the way Chuck Bodak said it, he brought boxing to another level. It's like the space age in a sense. Truly. A lot of people think like Muhammad Ali is doing that. Actually, Joe Louis did that, in my opinion. And then I'm going to go with number 5. Number 5 is it's so hard. But just in terms of effect in boxing and impact, I'm going to go Muhammad Ali. All right, so that's my top 5. I didn't think through my top 5, my last 5th one there a lot. I could probably do a better one than Muhammad Ali, maybe, but I just got to go with that because that's just like cultural impact of boxing and everything all together, right? All right. Ricardo Vasquez, coach. I don't know if someone's asked, but how do you see Bivol playing out? Yes, great question. So, unless Beterbiev gets old in one night, all right, and somehow it can happen at 40, I see Beterbiev pushing the pace a little bit more and breaking Bivol down a little bit more. Another decision win because Bivol is a tough champion and he's a good boxer. All right. In their first fight, I saw both guys, though. This is what scares me about both of them. I saw both of them. Again, I'm not a world champion like they are. Okay. Both of these guys would beat the living crap out of me. Right. But man, both I saw them just not go for it. Right. The term is competitiveness, like in amateur boxing. Both of them I saw not be competitive at certain parts of the fight. Just kind of step off and let the other guy in the fight. And I didn't see any reason why. Maybe there were reasons why. I don't know. Maybe there's been interviews where they said that there's reasons why. I haven't seen it, but I saw both guys take the foot off the gas and stop pushing the action and letting each other back in the fight. So, decision for Beterbiev is what I'm going for, unless he gets old in one night, which could happen. My question from earlier was referring to slipping and then moving and then slipping off to your left or to your right afterwards. Okay. Like if you're the taller guy, you don't want to slip and stay in place. Yes. Great question. Yeah, that's something, man, I might have to touch on in a video a little bit, but absolutely big thing. Slipping off to this side. You can remember we can step and slip as well. So you want to be a little bit maneuvering as you slip sometimes. Sometimes we want to do that. Absolutely. So you slip to your left side and step to your left with your left foot as you do so, and then do a slight spin off or a sidestep with that move. And same thing with the right side. All right. See a lot of examples of this with fighters. Or after you slip to a side, you dip under and step under to that side or to the other side. But yeah, that's a great question, but it's a question I might have to spend a lot more time answering. By the way, guys, if you enjoy this, make sure you drop a super thanks. I'm trying to run through. See, I'm like freaking behind as hell because I've been yapping. But if you don't mind, buy me a cup of coffee because Coach Keith needs coffee. You can do that by doing a super thanks. See, I just got water here, and really helps out the channel a lot, guys. Drop $5, $10 helps out a bunch. All right. So how do you keep your base when slipping and stepping off this side? Again, I might have to do a video on that for you, Danger. Here's a great film of Robinson. Watch this while I yap, guys. Oh, yeah, look at the combinations. Separate question. Also, how do you keep your base when coming back up from weaving under a punch? That's a super big question or a super small question. I would need a video, man. If you don't mind, drop a video, and we can talk about this live. Oh, look at the body shots by Robinson. Ooh, Christian, what do you think of the small jumping, super loose Soviet style boxing? The feet aren't planted at all, it seems like. Yes. What do I think of that? Well, again, man, is it just because of the greatness of Sugar Ray? But if you watch Sugar Ray, man, a lot of times he's bouncing with his punches. Of course, we're not going to maybe see it in these instances. Maybe we will. But when he lets some of the hooks go, like the double left hooks, there's kind of a bounce with it. And that's just part of it. Here we go. There it is. Do you see that bounce with that hook there? I knew it was coming. It's basic boxing. It's nothing special. They emphasize it more. But it's a great way. It's a great thing that helps you do, or what it helps with a lot, I find, is it helps people get their body with the punch, right? If you're just kind of set in the ground, like, yes, you need to be set in order to make power, right? If you're tied up by strings and, just hanging in the air, good luck trying to make rotational power, right? You need something to initiate off of. Now, but if you have something to initiate off of, we all see the, leaping left hooks and people flinging their body, as I call it, with punches and slightly leaving the ground. Now, like I discussed, I can't remember if I did a video where I talked about this, but as I believe I've discussed before, I've talked to baseball coaches And they talk about how batters, like young guys, kids, when they bat, they'll do that thing where they go back and they pick their foot up to hit the ball because they see the top level guys, some top level guys do that. Now, of course, there's everything to be said for something that maybe some guys do and some guys don't do. And is that the right thing for you to do? Right? That's another question. But they see guys do that. But what they're missing in that nuance of picking the foot up as they pull back to create more force on the hit is what the kids do is they rise up as they pick the foot up and then drop down as they hit, and that messes up the connection to the ball. Versus the top level guys, they can pick up that lead leg and lean back and they stay the same height, then boom, go for it. Same thing is true oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes with the kind of bouncy style of bouncing with punches. Is a beginner will hop straight up with the bounce. A more proficient boxer, the feet will leave the ground, but they're not necessarily rising up levels at least that much as they box. They're not jumping up in the air. They're in the air because the feet are leaving the ground, but it's just allowing them that spring rotation to create power. All right. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Is shadow boxing with weights useless? Largely. I sometimes hear that shadow boxing with 1 or 2 pound weights do nothing, and I should shadow box with gloves instead. Yes. So, man, Rusty, you are dropping a big killer question, man. So, think about it. If you're wearing 1 pound, if you're holding 1 pound dumbbells, what might you as well be wearing or having in your hand? A 16-ounce glove, because there's 16 ounces in a pound. Okay. So now you could make an argument for double, right? For double for different reasons. I'm going to tell you the advantages and disadvantages. All right. Let me give you the advantages first, just to show that I'm not some bigoted a-hole about shadowboxing with weights, because I do have people do it sometimes, like in classes and stuff like that for fun, or for reasons. So the reasons for it is that it does create muscular endurance, right? Do something with more weight, it is going to get you in better shape to do that thing. And you could make the argument that you're doing the exact movement that you're doing when you're boxing. So it's the most sports specific activity that you could be doing. Okay. So that is the steel man for shadowboxing with weights. Now, what is the straw man, or the reasons why I'm not big on it? Okay. First off, when we go beyond like 2 times the amount of weight you use in competition, or even, sorry, not competition, in sparring, which would be 24-ounce dumbbells, which would be 2 pounds. When we go beyond that, or 22, sorry, what the hell? 32, 32. Gosh. Ooh, Coach Keith needs coffee, guys. Please. So 32 ounce, shadow boxing doesn't make a lot. More than that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. So double, good. More than that, it changes the form too much. Okay. And then when you're holding dumbbells specifically, you're getting used to gripping something. There's no need to do that. Okay. To get used to be able to grip something as you're punching, like as you're extending, right? Then also as well, I'm a big proponent of when you shadow box, you're just warming, loosening up to squeeze at the end of the punch. So you don't get to activate that either. All right. And then you don't really get to work the hand defense in the same way with those dumbbells. And then it changes some of the mechanics. I see people do different things with their stance and position, things like that, to compensate for the dumbbells, which can be problematic. And then the last thing is that from my understanding, I haven't ran a test on it, but from my understanding of what I've read, and it makes logical sense to you, tell me what you guys think. When you're extending with a weight in your hand, right? Absolutely, you have starting force to generate the extension. Okay. And that's where you can make the argument for dumbbells, right? And also just holding the dumbbells up, right? But you spend approximately 40%, from my understanding, but let's just say it's 30% of that extension decelerating. Because if you don't, what happens? Oh, you're going to hurt your elbow. All right. So if you want to add resistance to an extension, I'm a way bigger fan of using bands to do it. Or you could make an argument maybe for punching a bag with dumbbells. Maybe. I have seen people do that. Again, it's not something I've really done a lot with, but I have seen people do that. So those are my thoughts. Hope that was helpful. Focus on shadow boxing with gloves. Absolutely. So do them at the end of your workout. Okay, so that is the time you do it. Do it as your burnout at the end. Absolutely. Like if you were in my gym and you're one of my boxers, Nathaniel, and you did all your other stuff and you want to finish out that, go crazy. Okay. So that's when you do it. Don't do it at the beginning. And because the focus should be getting loose, man, in the beginning, not holding a dumbbell. Sorry, coach. I meant to shoot faster. Yeah, you might be getting too wide with the body shots. We tend to overestimate how much we have to open up our arms to throw body shots. So just tighten it up a little bit. Cameron, sorry, coach. I meant more shots faster. Other guys in my gym can throw 6 body shots faster than I can throw 3. Yeah, you might be trying to load them up too much. So just be careful with the load up. Boom. Man, thank you, Nex. You rock. Thank you so much, coach. I'm really grateful for everything I learned from your videos. Thank you, my friend. I learned so many new things, even as an amateur national medalist. Man, that's a great testimonial you gave me, my friend. And you also bought me a cup of coffee. Man, what more can I say? Boom. My heart goes out to you, brother. All right. Let's see. But yeah, so Camden, you're probably just getting too wide with the punches and trying too hard. Focus on just rotating the body. Remember, the power comes from the rotation of the body, not necessarily from the arms reaching out. So the more you just turn your body and the arms are a secondary thing, the faster you can throw because you just turn your body quickly. And honestly, the more power you will have as well. All right, 2-pound weights are a good way to get hurt, bro. 1-pound weights are money because they're equivalent to sparring gloves. A weights, yeah. Yeah, loose and then squeeze on contact. True. That's a possibility. One way that my father's old coach Chuck Bodak would say is when you box, pretend like you're holding little eggs, right? And then at the end of the punch, you break the egg without dropping the weights. Yes. And one thing I would say as well, it maybe can help you get used to the best position to keep your hands up while being tired. Okay, but you could say that with weights. So developing good muscle memory conditioning tools, sure. Let's see. Awesome question, fellas. Thanks, coach. You're the best man on YouTube. Thank you, Christian, man. You are the man. All right, coach. I'm a bit hesitant or scared to throw rear uppercuts, rear hooks, and lead hooks to the liver. Okay. Mostly because of fear of getting countered. Would you please give me some tips to avoid this? Yes. Oh, yes. So, okay. So first off, I was going to hit you with something, but I'm not going to say it. Okay. Okay. Oh, so the big thing, let's talk about the most fruitful punches that you list here, right? Depending who you're fighting, but the left hook to the body, right? Oh, the liver shot. All right, let's set it up. Let's set it up top first, right? So we set it up with the jab, the right hand. Maybe we do a 1, 2, 3, and we do that a couple times, and then we do a 1, 2, and a left hook to the body, right? Or 1, 2, left hook up high, left hook for the body. Just set up. Just don't lead with it, or do it as a counter punch. But that's the key. Set them up top, get them thinking up top. It's going to minimize the counter. But then also, my friend, if you want to minimize the likelihood of getting countered by body shot or off of body shots, because remember when we throw body shots, we open up our head, right? Is you want to follow it up, right? So following up that classic thing of boxing of you're going to start at the head, go to the body, and finish at the head, right? If you make the habit of putting your combinations together where you typically start at the head, not all the time, but typically start at the head, controls their head, keeps them occupied up top, go down for the body, and then don't stop at the body, because that allows for good counters. I see it all the time in the gym and sparring and fights, whatever. Guy finishes at the body. There's a perfect opportunity for a counter to the head. But if the guy doesn't know that, or if you don't know they're finishing at your body, and most of the time they finish the head, what's it going to do? It's going to eliminate or minimize how often they're going to counter you. All right? So don't finish at the body if you want to get the body. Go for it, make that the hard, but follow it up with something like the jab. And then, man, really the jab is the answer for all the other things. Okay. But I hope that's helpful. Have you ever watched Salvador Sanchez? Any thoughts? A lot of people favorites. Yes, I've watched some of him. I have not made a prominent study of him. I've definitely watched way more Chavez Sr. And way more of a few other Mexican fighters, but he is very good. And I appreciate it, Alini. I have not made a big study of him, but he's definitely a solid fighter. What's his nickname? Matakia Butter. Thoughts on Bob Foster? Ooh, big Bob Foster fan. Big Bob Foster fan. You guys should watch when he knocked out Dick Tiger. All right. He was a guy that would get eye level with guys. Very long guy, would get eye level, maximize his range. All right. And and a big power puncher as well. Aggressive long guy as well. I noticed that too with Beterbiev in round 7 and round 11. I thought Bivol was doomed, but Beterbiev didn't really push the pace. Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, Bivol looked like he was trying to survive in round 12. Yes, yeah, that they both laid off the gas on each other. It was weird. Nathaniel, we are looking for my first opponent. Awesome, but I don't have a fight date yet. Trying to stay prepared in the meantime. Killer, man. Luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. Tyree, what's up, coach? Sorry for, man, I'm like slow behind in these chats, guys. Um, Waited for me to jump ahead though is like with next when boom, when he dropped that super chat, boom, I'm right, Johnny on the spot. How can you increase your punching speed? I box with dumbbells, but I hear that mostly improves punching power. Yes. And again, like I mentioned earlier, and I know you heard me say it, but I'm just gonna say it again, is that it's gonna increase muscular endurance. I personally don't believe it increases punching power. How can you increase speed? Definitely utilizing bands will help you increase speed. And then also relaxation through proficiency of movement, as Chuck Bodak would say. Through proficiency of movement, you get speed. This guy is very fast, and he didn't get fast because of you doing anything that we're talking about. Shadow boxing, bag work. This bag didn't make him fast. Okay, it just got his arms in better shape, and the jump rope didn't make him fast either. All right, looseness, looseness, and through proficiency of movement and technique makes speed. Think about it. The reason why Muhammad Ali was so fast, besides just you could say genetic factors, is he is so freaking loose when he throws. And that's how he can be so fast and so powerful. Because haven't we all seen guys that are very fast and not very powerful? They're not loose. They're kind of muscling the speed, all right? And they're not as fast as the loose guys, all right? But then we got that snap at the end. But if you're going to find a piece of machinery that's going to help you do that or whatever, band help you definitely do that. And some plyometrics, like plyometric push-ups and things of that nature can help you as well. I recommend maybe doing some extensions with bands, right? Really rapidly, and then going right into shadow boxing, like right after that, right? So maybe 5 or 10 really hard, fast extensions, and then go to a really hard, fast combo and do that a few times. That's helpful. And remember that it takes time to do these things. It takes at least a few weeks, if not a month or so, to really see the payoff. But there's this one old guy that helped me with conditioning, and he went from being slow as dirt to being pretty fast, and that bands alone helped him a lot because I don't think he improved his technique that much. Any boxer similar to Manny Pacquiao? I started watching his fights again, mainly for his combinations, yes, and noticed his side-to-side head movement, but it doesn't really translate well for orthodox. Yeah, yeah. I mean, no, I mean, there's not many people similar to Manny Pacquiao that I can think of. He definitely had his own style. But the things that we can take from Manny are the rapid fire straight punches. Okay. And like when we're talking amateur boxing, oh, that's gold right there. That's what I want people to pick up from Manny is those rapid fire straight punches that he does when he boxes people and when he's in the gym training. And again, it's the looseness and relaxation along with the footwork. Like you can definitely take that from Pacquiao. The TikTok head movement, dude. Pacquiao's defense was never really that good. I mean, it's better honestly than I thought it was, as he showed later. But it just, yeah, and him offensively, that's what made him great. And if you were training a man for true bare knuckle, no wrist reps, what kind of combos would you have him drill? Uh, a short two could hurt a wrist bad. Yeah, I'd have to think on that one to give you a good comment. I don't want to speak on my backside. I would say probably single shots for the jaw, right? Like a jab. Because man, if you snap a jab even from like an extended, like think of old school boxing or sorry, bare knuckle boxing style stance, and snap tight at the end of that punch right for someone's jaw, it can hurt a lot and get a little step on it, things like that. So really, the jabs for the jaws, maybe some right hands. I would honestly keep it up for the head most of the time, but it'd be a lot more single shots. It wouldn't be many combos. Why? Because when you throw combos, there's more likely that punches are gonna hit things, random things that hurt, like elbows and foreheads. That's my 2-second answer. Great question. Hey, any tips for timing warm up amateur fight. Oh yeah. I feel like I fight better, uh, really, really warm, beyond what most people recommend. But I'm afraid to experiment on the day of. Huh. Yeah, well, I've noticed this with quite a few people. Now, we got to think about what the purpose of the warm up is and what it's accomplishing when we do it longer. Okay. And my friend, and let me tell you just as a fact for any sport, whether it's boxing or running or whatever, if you're in good shape, you can warm up pretty long and still perform great. Just as long as you're not like over just freaking crazy overdoing it. Because let's qualify what is warming up long. Warming up long is, you know, doing, you know, a few rounds of shadow boxing, a few rounds on the mitt type thing, bouncing around. That's kind of like a longer warm up. I mean, how long are you talking about? But what does a long warm up accomplish? Probably, or why do you feel like you get a better result when you warm up long? And probably because it relaxes you more, right? You're more loose because you got a little bit of fatigue and you shake out that tension. All right. Now think about how you can shake out that tension in your warm up for a fight and also just even in the gym by prioritizing, shaking things out, whipping those arms around, throwing punches with no effort, but with snap, shaking your legs out, dynamic warm ups and things like that. That stuff's not going to really tire you out at all, ever. All right. But I mean, dude, a fight in so many ways is just like a sparring match, man. So just warm up. Just make sure when you're warming up, you're doing it like that, doing it loose. Yes, if you tense warm up before a fight, you're gonna burn your ass out. Okay. But if you focus on just getting that loose snap going, whipping the body, effortlessly moving around and things like that, and you're gonna be golden. And also, my friend, this is the time to experiment with this as an amateur. I hope you're fighting fairly often as an amateur, or at least trying to. And you get a chance to play with this a little bit. Let's see. But yeah, like arm circles, dynamic warm-ups, things like that. When trying to hit angles using shifts and Lomachenko looking footwork, do you have to make your opponent plant his feet and maybe shell up and close his eyes? Yes, those are helpful. How are people setting up those shifts? That's a great question. Yes, the easiest way to set it up is by either feints or fast combos that keep people occupied. Put up their guard, make them blink for a moment and things like that, or off of a punch. But that's hard to do at a certain level, at a lower level, off of somebody's punch. You can do it, it's just harder to do. Right? But yes, you are spot on. You want to make people shell up a little bit, and then those shifts are easy time. You're going to do it off of throwing punches. You do it off of no punches, typically, you're not going to be very successful. I remember one of my guys had someone try to do that crap to them in a fight, and they were just trying to shift over like that and leap over for angles with no setup at all and no, nothing to set the table. And my guy was just like, would just step back a little bit, look at him. It's just complete waste of time. Hiding shots inside of your movement and your hand placement before firing helps you get from a T-Toby along quicker regardless of speed in my experience. I think maybe you're in agreement with that. Hey, movement hides movement. That's a great line. Not my line. I stole that from a martial arts coach who works with MMA fighters and stuff like that. But movement hides movement. It's true. Man, when I boxed, I kind of had a little bit of that smoke style like Henry Armstrong or Joe Frazier. And that movement hides movement. Oh, let's see here. By the way, guys, drop a super thanks if you don't mind, because it really helps me out. Rocking this late at night, been going all day in the gym. Coach, after your advice now, most of my training is sparring, shadowboxing, and partner drills. But for SNC, what would you suggest? I do more medicine ball throws and kettlebell swings, strength and conditioning. Okay. Medicine ball throws and kettlebell swings. What are your thoughts? Great question. So you got to think as well about what you need to do to keep your body safe and strong for the hard training. All right. So great that you do the medicine ball throws and kettlebell swings. Like that's great. But now let's think about how we're going to keep the rest of our body safe. Really, it's preemptive training in a sense, or prehab. That's the word I'm looking for. Prehab. All right. So rotator cuff work with a band, interact with the band. You know what I'm talking about? You know, this perhaps with bands or light dumbbells. Strengthening up your neck is going to be important as well. I recommend largely using isometrics to do that versus go for big movement patterns, because you just need to make sure it's stabilized and able to stabilize. Grip training. All right. Doing towel pull-ups, I'm a huge fan of. I was actually just having a fighter starting to do that tonight, because when I was holding mitts for them, I could feel that their squeeze at the end of the month, they're putting all their weight behind it, but I didn't feel that rock feeling that you feel when someone tightens up hard right on impact. So towel pull-ups, don't have it so you wrap around the whole towel, like so it's a fat bar. Make it so that towel is just like this shirt would be, basically. We're almost ripping the towel. And that's like the grab that you got to make in that glove. It's going to help you with your power, help protect your hands more, help protect your wrists more. And then, you said you do kickboxing, stuff like that. I can't give you a ton of advice down there, but I would say working on the posterior chain. So some basic things like deadlifts would be very helpful, not maxing out on weight. When I was at the end of my boxing, but when I was at the best of my boxing, when I was in Mexico, I was doing some medicine ball work like you're talking about, throws and whatnot, a little bit of core work, some neck work, some grip work, some shoulder rehab and prehab work to keep my shoulders healthy. And I was doing about 135 pounds in deadlifts just to keep a base level strength. And that's when I was at my best. All right. That was my experience. And other people can have different things, but that's my direct advice. Let's see. All right, guys, we're running tight on time. We got about 10 minutes left, and we're going to wrap it up. Really enjoy this, guys. You guys are all the questions today have been freaking spot on. I'm very impressed with the crew today. Love it, guys. If I'm retreating, I know I need to circle out. Yes. But what kind of guard should I use? What kind of head movement? How should I move my head? How should my head movement and guard change if I make a mistake and go straight back? Well, no, I mean, nothing really changes when you go straight back. Just be aware that once you hit that rope, be ready to bounce under or off. Keep the hand up of whatever side that you're going to go to, right? If I'm going to go to my left, bounce off hard on my left, keep the left hand up. If I'm going to go right, keep the right hand up, right? And you can go straight back about 1 or 2 steps, but then try to use that to plant and shoot and nail somebody coming in at you, all right? That's my question for that one. It's a good one, though, Camden. Let's see. Love Frazier and Armstrong, Archie Moore, too, as far as inside fighting goes. Yep. Great fighters. Other than staying on your toes and your footwork videos, what can I do stance-wise and general movement-wise, bouncing when out of range, to keep from feeling like I have lead feet? Yes. Well, this is where I gotta go. I gotta go super basic. The whole time I box, I didn't jump rope. All right. Would I have been that much of a better boxer rope? Maybe. We did spend a lot of time moving around the ring. I have seen jumping rope help people get lighter on their feet. And after I stopped boxing as a coach, I jumped rope just to make sure I understood intimately every aspect of boxing that I might not have trained when I boxed. And I would say that jumping rope does help you be lighter on your feet. Also, moving around the ring with, you could say a 10-pound weight vest on you also helps you as well. 10 pounds is enough that it's effective without being overdone. All right. That's my basics for you there. How should you mix sprints and jogging when doing road work? Yes. I think you should largely have a speed day, general endurance day. So the speed day, you do a little bit of a light jog to warm up, and then you do a couple sprints sub max speed, and then you start picking it up close to max. 100 yards, maybe 200 yards, somewhere around that ballpark. Camden, thank you so much. Boom, for that $5 super thanks, my friend. You are the man. getting close to wrapping it up, but thank you so much for the support from Nex and Camden, man. You guys rock. And also welcome Will B to the channel as a member. How should I mix in sprints? So yeah, so again, have 2 days a week where you're going to sprint super hard, doing, let's say, just sprinting the straight of the track, walking the curve, sprinting the straight, walking the curve. First couple are built up. First 3, let's say, are building up. Then you have about 3 or 4 that are max effort. And then you have essentially a cool down where you maybe go around the track a couple times. That's my short, quick answer for you, but I hope that's helpful. Big advice that I got when I was boxing and helped out a lot. And I have my fighters do. I like that Floyd kind of rock in motion he used. He kind of rocks forward slowly, sneaking his lead hand closer to his opponent before firing his jab. Also draws out the opponent's jab for pull counters. Exactly. Yes. Let's see. How far would you run and in what time would you want to be? Yes. It is a good idea generally for some people, depending on how your legs are and things like that, knees, ankles, to do a long run once a week, whether that's 5 or 6 miles. All right. And then stick to some 2s and some 3s. And with that, I would say generally with those, let's say 3s on average, getting about 10 to 12 miles a week total. It's best to kind of look at what you're getting in a week. So that would be comprised of, maybe a few times a week doing, 2 to 3 miles. So that gets you about to 9 or so. And then you put in, a 5 miler, let's say, that gets you about to 14 miles. But that's going to, when you're doing your 2 to 3 mile stretches, you definitely want to go hard and consistent, because where I find this to be helpful is it helps you get used to a higher, steady, getting used to a higher heart rate that is maintained. Okay. Because what oftentimes happens when we fight is we'll throw a hard combination, our heart rate will shoot up, and then we'll start working on bringing it back down. Versus what's so great about running, let's say running 3 miles at like 7-minute mile pace, 7:20-minute mile pace, somewhere around that ballpark, even an 8-minute mile pace, depending on what your conditioning level is. That is a constant, slightly elevated heart rate, or, pretty, relatively elevated heart rate. It gets you used to that level of output. And man, I've seen that make a world of difference in people and in their gas tank. All right. Let's see. Any tips for training during tournaments that go across weekends? Anything to be wary of? Yeah. Be wary of weightlifting. Be wary of doing anything that's going to burn the hell out of your nervous system, right? So again, this is a time where we don't want to do a lot of really hard runs and things like that, because it takes about 7 or so days for somebody to decondition. So your goal is to keep yourself in, don't hit the bag a bunch. A lot of shadow boxing, moving around, doing things that keep you healthy without causing unnecessary wear and tear. Because if you're fighting hard, then that wear and tear is going to be there. Prioritizing sleep too. All right. We're talking about training, but man, prioritizing sleep is so important with this. All right. Got about 1 minute left. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Coach, for your advice. I'm really grateful, man. Grateful for your support. Camden dropped an awesome super cup of coffee. Next dropped an awesome super thanks. Bought me another cup of coffee. I'll love if we get one more cup of coffee, guys. One more cup of coffee if we can before I close out. I'm trying to keep this right at 60 minutes. And that would be amazing, guys. Sharu 2.0, what's up, man? You haven't said much, but you've just been enjoying the chat, hopefully, and enjoying the questions and enjoying Sugar Ray Robinson giving the Bronx Bull a tough time with this last fight. Can we get one more cup of coffee and super thanks? Let's see if we can do it. Who can pull it out? Thanks, Rusty. Appreciate you, brother. Bam! Sharu, you're the man. 2.0. All right, gang. I'll tell you what. If you guys don't mind, let me know times during this week where you'd like me to do another live. I don't know. Or is there a better time for everybody? Because I got my own schedule with stuff going on, but I want to try to do a live when everyone's the most free and available. If I can make it work for my schedule, we can do this every 2 weeks. We can huddle up and take that into the next 2 weeks and improve. So, if anyone got any times, please drop them down real quick. Days or times, preferable days or times, or comment on one of the videos on when would be a good time. You could do it after this live ends or maybe I'll put up a poll. That's better, Coach Keith. I'll put up a poll. I'll put up a poll for when would be a good time to do a live. And so if you want to be a part of that poll, that'd be awesome. And thank you so much for your support, guys. Thank you, everyone, for the great questions. But thank you, Sharu 2.0, for the coffee. Thank you, Camden, for the coffee. And thank you next, guys. Have a great night, everybody. And let's keep training.